Good evening to everyone. I think Aditya has given me a good introduction, but let me just spend a few minutes more on what I've been doing in the last few years and what is wealth tech to me. As Aditya mentioned, I lead the Valuefy, client and markets, basically expansion for Valuefy in multiple markets. I was in India a few years back and then shifted to UK, primarily to expand Valuefy's business in across the globe. And in a nutshell, Valuefy is a wealth tech company. We'll talk about more what we do, Valuefy, and we really take a lot of pride in supporting Qualify and putting this program together for all of you, because this is very close to our heart. This is very close to what we do, and this is very close to what we want to deliver to the entire community, whether it is India wealth management community or outside India, where we are trying to build a credible wealth tech business for ourselves and add value to the entire value chain. Now, I've spent almost my 15 years in this business. And because of the nature of my job, I get an opportunity to speak to many wealth management professionals, a lot of founders who have founded wealth tech companies or wealth management companies driven by various business models, disrupting each other and disrupting themselves on the way, using technology, using a variety of other business models, etc. And because of our presence across multiple markets, I got an opportunity to speak to wealth management professionals from Southeast Asia, like Singapore, Hong Kong, Middle East, like Dubai, and now in Europe, which is London and Switzerland. I think it is very interesting times, and I think that is the reason it was really lucrative for us to participate in such an event, and we would really want to add a lot of value from a technology perspective. So while I was just putting this together as a brief talk, and my agenda is to give you a very quick and a practical insight into wealth tech as a business and how and where it is shifting and changing. And post that, we will talk about the curriculum, which we have designed carefully, which is designed by practitioners, delivered by practitioners in a very practical way, which probably will empower advisors with some key skills for their businesses. Moving on, I think, let me just, yeah, I think a lot of you must have read the book about, who moved my cheese. Just to articulate technology in financial services and technology in wealth management and what it is going to do in the future and what it is doing at the present, I've just put this together from someone very famous. Like, ignoring a technological change in a financial system based upon technologies like a mouse starving to death because someone moved their cheese. So in a nutshell, technology is going to change, and as we speak, it is changing. Having a very closer view of how it is impacting your business, how it can credibly impact the business model and give you the skills and ability to adapt to those changes becomes very, very key and essential in this part of the world, in this part of the generation, especially from a wealth tech perspective. So I got this source from BCG. It's very interesting. It puts everything together in a single place. What is changing? Let's look at what are the different layers and what is changing in the wealth management space. On the left-hand side, if you look in the last 20, 30 years, what has happened? Look at the clients who were baby boomers, where the financial purpose was primarily retirement, is shifted a lot with multiple generations added with lots of different purposes, right from retirement to wellness to sustainability to creating multiple goals for their futures, etc., etc. When it comes to value proposition, something which I have grown with equities, bonds, accessibility to pensions and UTIs and mutual funds. The world is shifting to more and more of variety of assets, from private equity, passive investment, peer-to-peer lending, alternative investments available to plethora of investors, which was really purvey to chosen few at some point. And I think there is a lot of technology undercurrent there. From an interaction point, and this is something which is very, very important, interaction is changing. If you really see in our common lives, interaction has totally changed. We may not realize it because of the changes being slow and gradual. But if you look at it from a generational or from a decade point of view, the interaction with financial services, which was primarily face-to-face meetings or at best letters and phone calls, has totally moved to digital. And we'll talk about digital. This is all about digital. We'll talk about digital a lot. But the power of digital is about across the entire value chain, and that is getting realized through the interactions. Earlier, interactions was limited to probably the last point of sale, etc. But today, digital is impacting the entire value chain from origination of an advice to execution of something, and so on and so forth. The digital tech, and definitely, this change in the interaction is totally powered by the underlying technology changes. I have a very, very simple yet very impactful example after this slide, which I'm going to share how it is shifted. And I think everybody is living and breathing with that. Then is the talent. I think the talent from a point of view of availability of talent, availability of the EQ and the IQ of the talent. Today, if I talk about me personally, I would want my wealth manager to be not only smart in advising me about the various options in terms of my investments, but also give me a variety of advice about life, so that the whole context of challenge, the context of talent, the context of what you're delivering as a human being, as a part of a wealth management practice has totally changed. The expectations have totally changed. Regulations, I think, lot for good and lot for bad. It is shifting and it is getting heavier and heavier. The good side is it is there to protect the consumer, but it also brings a lot of burden to the wealth management as a business. So I think these are the moving layers of the wealth management, and all of these layers have some sort of interplay with technology. On the right-hand side of your screen, you see, in terms of needs, interactions, and services, I would say a lot has remained same and a lot got added. For example, earlier, probably our parents, when they looked at an LIC agent or a bank to advise him on savings or investments, it was pretty much limited to that. But today, everybody is looking for personalization in everything we do, right? And why financial services, and specifically wealth management, which is the most, I would say, the most closest to heart when it comes to the financial services, is looking for a lot of personalization. Why an advice to a consumer should be same across the board, why it shouldn't be different, and why it should not take care of your personal nature of your circumstances. I'm a person who really wants to retire peacefully versus a person who really wants to retire with a lot of action and want to be a globe trottler at some point. It may have a totally entirely different choices when it comes to what sort of investments and savings he will do. The lifestyle will have a lot of impact on how we spend, how we save, etc. So the personalization has totally taken up across the board. From a services point of view, while there is a personalization, as I was talking about the talent, the financial advisor versus the life advisor versus the wellness advisor is all getting into one. Essentially, when you look for a financial advisor today, I think the idea of looking up to somebody who can give you advice, not only very limited to your finances, but also your life. And I think most of you in the room would agree with me that when it comes to life, beyond the personal circumstances, finances and the investment and the financial wellness plays a major role in your overall wellness, right? And from that context, if you look at it, the future generation, and even I would not shy away from saying current generation, also need not only a financial advisor who talks about what's best for me in finance, but talks wholesomely about what's best for me overall in life. So if this is available to me or to anybody in this generation, the whole existence of the wealth management advisor or a wealth management professional comes into the realm of a different possibility. I think on that note, I'm sure all of you must have read about and heard about and debated about robo advisory, and how robo advisors will displace human advice. Very interestingly, with a lot of this going on and with a lot of my interactions with so many wealth professionals, and I can experience it across the board, across the globe, the robo advisors are not going to replace anybody when it comes to the wealth management professional. Certainly, the robo advising and the automation of advice is going to impact a lot in the way wealth professionals function today and the way they're expected to function in the future. I'm going to talk about a bit of that, and when we go into the future trends and the key trends of wealth management industry. I think, interestingly, I think whatever we see around us when it comes to financial services or technology, there are lots of cause and effect relationship. We might be seeing a simple innovation like payments, but there is a lot of cause which has created that impact. And it is also beyond just the ability for entrepreneurs to look at how can they create value for their customers by creating inventions and innovations. There is a lot of cause and effect relationship, and there is a lot going into the technology as a whole. The way programming was done 20 years ago, the way payments are done today, the way applications were stored 20 years ago, and the way applications are designed and stored today are totally different. And it is not only the choice of the innovator who's creating the application, but it's also the reason that the total shift is there in terms of the underlying technology. So what I'm trying to say, whatever we see in our daily lives is just not a result of a single innovation. It could be a result of multiple layers of innovations which are happening in the ecosystem. To bring this point, and I think this is a very relevant point from a wealth management industry as a whole and wealth tech industry as a whole, and how it is going to impact advice in financial planning and wealth management in total. To put it into pictures, I know I've just put together something very simple, and I think all of us can relate to it. I think in 1967 and 1970s, the first ATM came somewhere in London, somewhere in the Western world. It took around 10-15 years to travel to our homeland in India. I think, if I remember it right, I think HSBC opened its first ATM in around 1980. Late 1980s in Mumbai somewhere. But then in the next 10-15 years or so, there was a total disruption when it comes to way the cash is being managed. A lot of the queues of which were there with the cashiers and all those bank branches completely vanished, and ATM so as to sort became a kind of those holy shrines where people just queue up and get what they want, right? But if you really see what happened underlying in the below I've mentioned, there were few key inventions, and I would call them ecosystem inventions or innovations, which gave ability for some innovators to transform the way money is being managed, cash is being dispensed across banking. And there was simple inventions like magnetic strip, cash dispensing machines, a machine which can actually dispense cash pretty accurately, far better than a cashier probably. And there is PIN authentication. There must be more than this, but I just wanted to highlight these three. Because of these three, there was an ability for someone to create an innovation like ATM. And probably at that time, we have not even crossed 50 years of ATM invention, and we're already talking about ATMs are dead. So that is the speed of the innovation. If you go forward, we've seen in the last 5-7 years how payment apps have disrupted the payment business. There is hardly a need to go to the ATM because you can pretty much pay everybody, anybody, anywhere with just your smartphone. And if you look at it, why? Because there is an underlying technology shift. It is not that somebody came up with an idea that I will create a payment application in a smartphone and he started from the scratch. It was essentially the key underlying technology, right from the 4G, 5G networks to NFC to QR to RFID. Now, because of this underlying innovations, which probably were happening in the financial services and other technology ecosystems, which powers financial services, there was an ability for someone to disrupt payments again. And that is where from Paytms to Google Pay to Amazon to Apple Pay, and finally now cardless contactless payments. And look at 2023, there is a lot of variables. You can pretty much wear a band, a ring, or any kind of device, any kind of ornament which has the ability to make payments and act like almost like a card for you. And there is a lot of cybersecurity. There is a lot of security, 5G, and these technologies which are empowering it. That the case I'm trying to make is, while ATM, which looked like a game-changing innovation, has got totally disrupted. It may or may not become stay relevant for the future, but there is underlying ecosystem which is which is what is powering the entire ecosystem of disruption of payments. And this is where the answers lies. There is a lot happening in and around us when it comes to technology and wealth management, and that is what we want to bring together for all of you in a very practical way, which powers you and which gives you the ideas, how you can shape yourself when it comes to personal empowerment and empowerment of your businesses. Moving on, I think everybody here are well read, and we read about many trends which is happening across the industry. I've just put together 5 key trends which are going to shape completely the way financial services and specifically wealth management is done. The first one, digital. I think digital innovation has started a new age of self-service. The way we are interacting with any financial service, that is just the start of it. Digital AI, a lot of data analytics combined, will totally change how we interact, how the interaction of a service between a consumer and a provider is done. I think we are already seeing an COVID-19 has pushed that agenda way north by bringing all kind of digital channels and digital, pipelines in very much in focus. And today, as you can see right now, we're having a global conversation. I'm sitting out of a different continent, and we are all of us at ease in doing this conversation, right? So I think that's the starting point, and the digital combined with other technologies is going to be the game changer in this. What is digital? I'm going to talk about a bit in the next slide. What really digital means, it's not just the surface of an app or a web. It's far below and beyond that. Artificial intelligence. And interestingly, I get an opportunity every now and then to participate in heated conversation about how AI is going to change financial services. And the way we have seen in the last few months since ChatGPT has come in, and a lot of people are talking about the various use cases that ChatGPT is going to disrupt everything. It is going to, remove the needs of humans in many things. But I think if you really see the pace of transformation in payments to banking to medical sciences to everything, every new technology, when it comes in, it is very promising. Then it starts taking shapes. It never removes the need of the human. It always creates an ability for the human to adapt to it, to become more intelligent, and to start using the technology to its best use cases. So I think, in my view, the way we're seeing it, artificial intelligence is going to become less artificial. When I say less artificial, today, I was using ChatGPT for myself to plan an itinerary to one of the destinations I wanted to go. And within no time, I was able to look for resorts which are near to a pebble beach and should not be very high, and it should be reasonably priced. And I was able to get to this almost in split seconds. So if you really look at it, the AI is going to make the humans far, far empowered to really use the technology to their advantage. So something like today, if I ask all of you, do you have different templates to advise to your different customers, or you're always struggling between applying your common wisdom, your common knowledge, your common IQ and EQ to different kind of customers. How quickly can you understand a customer need and what will be best for him in few conversation, or you need a lot of time. But with AI and data, probably that is going to get sorted. With that, there will be an ability available for advisors. By just interacting with your customers, you will be able to create a personalized advice, which will be really powered with a lot of data and practical know-how, just not and random arbitrary advice. Possibly that's the direction artificial intelligence will take the human interaction in financial services too. And as Valuefy being a technology firm, we are very closely watching what's happening in that space and would latch on to any development happening in that side. The third is the blockchain and DeFi, which might disrupt the way entire infrastructure in financial services works. For example, the cost of contract between counterparties, which today is pretty cumbersome. Today is huge, and the whole infrastructure is very cumbersome, might get disrupted, creating a great value in terms of security and in terms of price, and which might unlock that value for customers and professionals together. Automation and advice. I think a lot of people are saying robo-advisor are dead. I would put it other way. Robo-advisors first wave is over. Now the seriousness of automation advice is going to come. And I think from that context, the relevance of advisors are going to be more and more, because world has seen robo-advice is good to empower advisory, but it's not good when it comes to totally doing the advisory. And that is where I see automation and advice, making advice more and more personalized, making advisor more and more driven by data. That's where the whole automation advice is going to come from. And finally, I think the key layers, the big data, computing, 5G, cloud computing, infrastructures, that is going to empower and become the key key game changers to the overall ecosystem of the wealth technology shift. And I think finally, I would want to just put it this way: all disruptions are not and is not technology, and some of these are not really visible. I'm sure some of you might have noticed it. The next generation is becoming more and more environment conscious. They want to invest their time. They're worried about the future. Global warming is becoming real. So disruptions are not coming only from technology. Disruptions are also coming from various other environments. But technology is going to enable how to deal with other disruptions as well. So that's where I think the relevance of technology is in the wealth management as a business. Moving on, I think I'm going to talk a bit about Valuefy's Wealth in a Box. What is it that we are different, and what are we trying to do? We are basically have changed our DNA as a product company when it comes to enablement of the financial ecosystem, and especially the wealth management professionals. Our approach to the entire creation of a product is digital first, and it is defined by the way the different layers in the wealth management business operate, and how these layers finally culminate with the wealth management business. So I think we start from these are the 5 layers, right? From data, which is of prime importance. A good quality data, connected, aggregated, is something which becomes a bedrock of a wealth management application. So data and connectivity are our first 2 layers. Then is the advisory. Based on a lot of this, we've created a great ecosystem or a great platform where a lot of advisory can be done. And I was referring to automation advice. That's precisely what it is. And then finally, engagement and analytics go hand in hand, because without a great engagement, analytics are meaningless, especially for a consumer who probably needs a lot of simplification and a lot of clarity when it comes to what the analytics mean specifically for him and for his financial needs. And I think our intent is to simplify and enable both advisors and customer across for analytics through an engagement layer. So we will talk about this wealth in a box. We call wealth in a box, and this is what we are partnering with Verified. And in the program, we will open up this wealth in a box for the participating professionals and how it has helped different wealth management companies to totally adapt to the new ways of doing wealth management. Moving on, I think let me talk about a bit about the program. As Aditya started, this program is about, the objective is to groom the wealth advisors to embrace the change, to make their business models future proof, to really understand what are the available resources, to really identify what's right for them, keeping in mind where they are in their businesses, what are the different layers and how it can improve their total efficiency, productivity, and even a client experience when it comes to delivering of the wealth management as a business. I think from a key, what you will get out of this program, from a key point of view, you are going to get very quick and a practical knowledge of the total technology ecosystem, which is required for a wealth advisory practice. What are the best people in this business doing to retain their advice? Why they are so successful? What is retain their clients, and how are they doing when it comes to their advice? We will also talk about the various technology templates, what is available, how you can use it, what is the right fitment to your business. There is a complete section on building portfolios and how you can build portfolios which are tailor-made and powered by technology, and overall where the wealth industry and wealth advisory is moving. These are the details of the program. I think all the sessions are curated with a specific flow in mind. The first section is about, I've just today talked about the key trends in the industry. But during the program, we are going to go detail into each trend and specifically then pick up some trends which are shaping the wealth technology applications, what's available in the market, what should be the best choice depending on your business, what are the possible disruptions coming in, and how wealth technology applications are built, what are the key drivers and challenges. There is the impact of technologies on various setups, because no two wealth businesses are same. There are different kind of businesses and every business has a unique need. But at the same time, when it comes to adoption of technology, there are few templates, there are few ways of doing it. And we're going to talk about those wealth tech use cases in the second session. The third one is totally about the RM and the client servicing, because we think, and I think nobody would disagree to this, the RM advisor and the whole technology adoption in the RM advisory model, and how an RM interacts with technology, and finally how an RM enables its advisor is a key focus of the wealth management, specifically when it comes to ultra high net worth and high net worth and even mass affluent. So we're going to talk about a lot about how the wealth tech is enabling RM in client servicing. Valuefy has done a great amount of work there by providing wealth technology professionals with a very sophisticated RM workbench, and we're going to use that in some of these sessions. Moving on, I think the backbone of any wealth business is operations. And while it is not so fancy to talk about operations, but there is a lot of disruption when it comes to incremental productivity, which can be added in your operations. That's what we're going to talk about, the new wealth operations or wealth management operations model. When it comes to digital, how and what should be the operations model of a digital business. Then we're going to talk about digital platform, product, and ecosystem, specifically from robo advisory to kind of, how to digitize wealth management in banks, what are banks doing, what is happening in the RIA space, or what is happening in the distribution space, etc. The other session is going to be on blockchain application in asset and wealth management. Now, some of these things probably have not become mainstream, but just the way I talked about um, while some of the disruptive technologies like payments were available and there were just some events happened and they became mainstream. So it is important in this world today to know about what is blockchain doing. A great amount of work is being done around DLT and blockchain and how it is going to disrupt the entire ecosystem. And keeping on yourself on the top of it can be a great advantage for wealth management and asset management professionals. And finally, we're going to share through the founder's mouth how some founders in wealth management businesses adopted technology and have uh, significantly taken up their great success against their peers. So there will be some people who will be sharing the stories about what did they do and how they use technology to shape up their businesses and being successful. Finally, there are lot of other topics like the future of wealth tech, giving a sneak peek into the future, the key trends, the global overview, because I think we were referring to the ATM story. It took 20 years for an ATM from Western world to come to India, but once it came to India, it disrupted the entire market. And I think the pace of change is going to be far more gradual and far more faster. So it's important to know the global perspective of wealth tech. The industry of wealth management is sophisticated, I would say, from a regulation and practice perspective in Western world, and I've been seeing it every day. But it is behind in terms of technology. I can certainly say that. But if you combine the two, it is going to be a great advantage for a market like India. So we're going to talk about global overview of wealth tech. And then finally, the candidates will get an exclusive access to Valuefy's Wealth in a Box. It's a technology infrastructure. It's a product which is totally front to back. And we will bring a lot of use cases and make them live through this program, and how this Wealth in a Box can help you to dramatically change your operations and the way you do your business with your customers. And you will see and witness yourself the impact of the productivity and the possible impact on your client service relationships. And then finally, there will be an exam which will be conducted. It's a 2-hour multiple choice exam. Anyone successfully, and I'm sure all of you who participate will be successful, will be awarded a certificate post that. So that's about the program, and these are the details on your screen. The total program cost is 5,900 inclusive of GST. It includes live session, instructor notes, assignments, all the discussion groups and topics, and complimentary access to Wealthfire's technology platform during the course tenure. So that's about the program, and I think I've said a lot. I'm sure there must be some questions, anything, I'm happy to answer them. And thank you for listening to all of you.
Thank you so much, Shrikant. Audience, if you have any questions about wealth tech industry or about the program, please feel free to share on chat. And yes, Ankit, the recording will be made available for 1 month after the program to all program participants. Shrikant, the second question is for you. What products of wealth management will it cover?
Great question.
I think it's more in context to your platform, Valuefy platform.
Got that. So I think, and I think it's relevant, as I was mentioning in the start, the product mix is shifting, and we intend to cover all the relevant products, starting from equities, bonds, alternative products, private assets and private markets, and some of the digital products like digital gold, etc., which are coming in as a new flavor in the wealth management. So we intend to cover the entire bouquet of both straight exchange traded or investment unit trust and mutual fund products to non-exchange traded alternate asset classes, right from PMS, AIF, and other alternative private markets as well. And what we'll cover is right from how these are managed in the platform, and probably in some cases how those are accessed, and finally how these asset classes should be seen when it comes to advising to the customer from a model portfolio to portfolio advice perspective.
Okay, so the next question, will there be insurance and health insurance arena? No, Pankaj, this is not a regular wealth management program. So idea is to focus more on tech rather than the products and services. Uh, there is a question on, okay, Shrikant, for you, is there any difference between robo advisory and automation and advice?
I think, yes, I think this is an interesting question. I purposely use that in my slide, automation and advice. Robo advisory seldom is very understood in a very limited context. But when it comes to automation advice, the whole context is pretty larger. For example, today, if I just go to any global robot advisors and ask, this is what I need, this is what I want, the whole context of advice is missed because that is about not understanding me as a person. While automation advice may start from right from bringing a lot of context and data before you start into advising. So from the whole value chain, if you see, getting access to the data and information of the customer you're advising, making sense of that data and customer, because otherwise you hardly have the um, diagnosis before you start prescribing. And then third, what is the tools of advice? That's where the robo advice part touches in. If you have all of it, then the robo advice is all about creating a portfolio allocation and an asset selection. But just as the last leg, automation and advice, and that's what we in our application do, start from right from there, because that's where I think the advisors become relevant. So when I say to automation advice, it's about bringing technology and advice and making advisors relevant than just the robot advice, which is very, personally speaking, very unattractive from an advice perspective.
Sure. So, so there's a question from Deepak, Shrikant. Is this suitable for a newbie, I mean, a fresher, or how is this scores going to be? Is it going to be very elementary in nature or a bit more advanced?
I think the way I will put it is, it's going to be suitable for anybody who is looking or is already into this business. The course is not designed purely from a, what's your stage or what's experience in this business. Course is designed what's practical and what is creating an action and what is creating an impact in this business, what you should know if you are either in part of a wealth management business or are you planning to become a wealth manager yourself. So I think the course is not just designed from being a beginner or a professional. It's designed with a very practical approach, both from technology, how the wealth management businessing, and there is a takeaway for that. So I would say it's for everybody, as long as you have a very credible interest in this business and you're looking for a practical view of the both technology and wealth management.
Uh, okay. So Pankaj, I'll unmute you in a minute. Let me first finish all the other questions. So Ankit is asking, post successful completion of the program, how would it help a mutual fund distributor or RIA to implement the learnings? Would Valuefy be providing access to the platform through some special subscription?
Yeah, we are contemplating that, and I and Aditya were chatting this morning how we can take it to the next level. As I said, we as Valuefy are very passionate about creating a very credible wealth infrastructure, and we're very open to provide by this platform of Equalify and this program the access to the platform in a way that it can help the wealth management professional. So we probably might announce something. We haven't finalized it yet, but yeah, that's what we are looking to do per se.
No, I mean, just to add the,
Yeah.
sorry, Shrikant,
Yeah.
you continue. I'll add some.
Yeah, another thing I was just referring to was we are powering many wealth management businesses in the country and abroad. And we, by participating this program, uh, and knowing the platform gives you a credibility as well and a lot of talking points if you are part of this industry and you're starting either your own business or you're trying to become part of an RIA yourself. So yeah, that's where it is. Aditya, you want to add something?
Yeah, I was just adding to the point. So, so guys, what really excited about this about this program is Valuefy. I've known Valuefy for last 10 years. In fact, Valuefy started around the same time as AIWMI in 2013, 12, 13, and we've seen them and their growth not only in India but across the world. And today, not only have they won several prestigious awards globally on wealth tech, they also are working with some of the biggest brand names in the wealth and multifamily office industry in India and abroad. So I'm not sure if Shrikant is in a mood to share the names of some of their clients today, but I can tell you from what I have known of them, they are working with some of the who's who of the wealth industry. And when they came up with this concept of wealth in a box and a couple of other services which are more designed for the individual mutual fund distributors or RIAs, we thought this is the way to go. This no one is talking about something like this. Can we create a program in partnership with Valuefy for IFAs and MFDs, which can handhold them to the next stage? Now, of course, the program is just the first step. Idea is to bring more access to you, to all of you, for such platform in a long run and at a much more discounted fee if you're a part of this program. And also create a community, like if you've seen in alternates or family offices, we keep doing a lot of stuff around the year. So similarly, wealth tech is we are very eager to take it up as a community and keep doing a lot of continuous education work for you all. So you're updated on all the best practices, best technology, best service providers, and best partners that you can collaborate with. So this is just the first step in this direction, and we'll be excited to have all of you on board. Shrikant, I mean, of course, I'll hand it over to you. There are a couple of more questions I can see here. Okay, so I think Pankaj was asking some few questions around what all will be covered. Let me just unmute him. 1 minute. Yeah, hi Pankaj, can you?
Yeah, hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you listen me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Good evening. Thank you for introduction to this nice flow.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, and so to the Mr. Srikant rather. Sorry. Now, my point forward, this insurance is not purely from the product selling point of view, but purely from the wealth management point of view, because insurance is a part of the wealth management, wealth investment. So also the health insurance. Hello.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah. So just like women married women property act, something like that. So the more products and features would be available in the market in due course of time, when the more foreign participants would be in the insurance fray. So I'm looking from that point of view.
I think, I think the program is more holistic, addressing wealth tech as a region. And I would not disagree with you that insurance and some of the other insurance wrapper products are going to and are mainstream when it comes to overall financial well-being and wealth management. We probably will cover some topics that how do we handle some of these products. And I think you asked a question about succession planning as well.
Yeah.
Uh, there are some topics which we'll be covering, which will be part of the automation and advice that how it should be done. Probably if it's given, if we are, then we would probably also unveil how we are looking to do overall automation advice, which encompasses right from taking a person's financial information, not only from a pure investments perspective, but also from his needs of protection,
Yeah.
protection, health, etc. And then how the need of the investing and becoming richer and protecting yourself against, all kind of possible issues which can happen with your health, your family's health, etc., needs to come all together. You can't be a person who have invested very nicely in mutual funds and probably sitting on without protecting your and your family's life, right? So we're going to bring that in. But yes, the program is not about insurance per se. It's more about wealth, and insurance and advice is going to be part of it, not overall per se. If I can,
Okay, okay. And any readables would be available if I enroll for that one?
sorry, can you say that again? What will be available?
Readables, matlab any hard copies of the what is the materials?
The
Yeah,
soft
we do.
copies will be available.
We- Yeah,
The
sorry,
soft
soft copies.
copies of study notes and PPTs will be available, and of course, there'll be some case studies and other tools and templates that will be shared by Valuefy. Other than the access to the platform, of course. So great. I don't see any other questions, guys. If you have any other questions, please quickly share, else we can wind up the session. All right. I think, Shrikant, I don't see any other questions coming in. So, our audience, if you have any other questions in the future, please feel free to write to us on certifications@equalify.org. Our team will be happy to assist you with the same. On this note, I would like to conclude the session. Thank you all for joining in. We look forward to see you in the first cohort of EWP. Shrikant, thanks again for taking the time out from your busy traveling schedule and
Thank you.
joining us. We hope to see you in more sessions during EWP itself. Yeah.
Look forward. Thank you
Thanks.
all, and have a lovely
Thanks.
evening.
Thanks. Bye.